Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Marcus here, your chef on a mission from Aroma Time. It is 11:30. If you're watching this live, it is 11:30 on August 24th. 11:30, August 24th. Live here, and replays always on YouTube. Same day or maybe a little day later. There's my sound check. I have sound. So notifications out. So some people will be joining me on here. I have a big idea that I want to share that I've been sharing. Yesterday's here at the restaurant, I was on the phone a lot with lots of different people. Doing some networking, and so I was sharing my big idea with a bunch of people, and they love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to talk about that in just a moment here. As soon as some people log on, I'm just waiting for people to log on. If you are tuning in, just drop a comment, #live. If you can hear me, throw the thumbs up or just make a comment, say something. Let me know you're out there. That'd be great. So I'm in my office here. Next door at the restaurant. The restaurant's just right next to us here through the alley. And so in my office, getting a bunch of work done. Tuesdays is my coaching day, where I'm on the phone with our coaching students, coaching clients. So I have a little break here now at 11:30, which is why I'm on now, and the next half an hour before I get on another call again. So just wanted to go on here and do a live for Aroma Time, because I didn't do my live for Aroma Time today yet. So here doing that now. So my big idea. Of course, the restaurant industry has been hit hard this last year and a half from COVID. Hit really hard. A lot of restaurants have gone out of business. It's projected even more restaurants will be going out of business, and who knows what's going to happen with future lockdowns, shutdowns, things like that. We really don't know what's going to be happening. So that's the only thing we know is that we don't know. July 5th, let's back up. One of the key parts for our success during COVID was allowing us to sell alcohol to go. We were allowed to sell cocktails to go. We were allowed to sell bottles of wine, bottles of bourbon, all kinds of cocktails. We could act like a liquor store. There were no restrictions. We could just sell things out the door, and it worked very, very, very well. July 5th, that mandate ended, and they tried to vote it into a law where restaurants can continue to sell alcohol to go. Well, that was quickly voted down because the Retail Association has such a stronghold, and of course they do. They have lobbying groups. They all have lobbying groups, and so they're the main force that are against restaurants being able to sell alcohol to go, and totally understand that. That's what their business is. There's two different types of licenses in New York. There's an on-premise license, which means you walk into a restaurant, they open the bottle of wine and pour you a glass, and you consume it on-premise. Off-premise license is where you walk into a wine shop and you grab the bottle of wine at the store, pay for it, and you leave and go off-premise and drink it. So on-premise, off-premise. Those are two different types of licenses. Two main different categories of licenses. There's country club licenses and other licenses, but that's basically what it is, on and off-premise. You're either drinking it on-premise or you're drinking it off-premise. So restaurants, of course, are on-premise. Well, they took that away July 5th. The mandate ended. Was not voted into making into a law of some sort. The Liquor Authority is in favor of it. The Liquor Authority is supporting this. However, the Retailers Association is not, for obvious reasons. So I'm thinking like, wow, I really missed the alcohol sales to go. At one point, we were literally selling 20 to 25 cases of wine a week at retail pricing. We lowered our pricing, retail pricing, and sent it out the door, and we were doing very well with that. And that helped us immensely through the pandemic. So now I'm thinking, with taking away the mandate, how can we get this back in to where it works for retailers and for on and off-premise licenses? How does this work? So I've come up with this thing that I've shared to a few people that have said it's great. And yesterday I spent a lot of time on phone calls yesterday talking to distillery owners, the owners of distilleries. I made some phone calls yesterday and pitched it to a couple winery owners too. And everybody loves this idea. They love this idea. So, and the one distillery owner that I spoke to is actually involved in legislation and is involved in that board for legislation and lobbyists and things like that, and knows how to get things done. So he was really loved my idea. So here's my idea. Let's let restaurants sell alcohol to go again. Let's also allow wine shops to sell food, because they're not allowed to sell food. If you go to New Jersey, it's a different story. You walk into a wine shop, you can pick up chocolate, cheese, chips, pound of sliced prosciutto. You can pick all that up in wine shops in New Jersey and other states, right? And some states you have wine in grocery stores, real wine grocery stores, not in New York. New York is like 5% wine or something. It's not even wine. It's basically, light wine, very low alcohol wine. So let's give retailers an opportunity to sell food. Let's give restaurants an opportunity to sell to go, but with some very heavy guidelines on them, or some beneficial guidelines. So first of all, let's maybe say it's a cap of 10%. So for every $1 million I do, I'm allowed to do $100,000 in sales, which I think is very reasonable, and a nice profit margin for me to add an extra, few $1,000s of profit. When you sell stuff on retail, there's not much of a markup on it, so you have to be competitive with that. So you buy a bottle of wine for $10, you sell a bottle of wine for $14, $15. There's not much. It's not markup like it is food, where you buy something for $1 and you sell it for $9.99. It's nothing like that. So it's much different margins. So give us restaurant owners, our restaurant businesses, a 10%. So on every million we do, and every dollar we do, 10 cents we're allowed to sell towards alcohol to go. Of that, 100% of the stuff we're selling in alcohol to go must be made in New York State. Must be made in New York State. It's all about promoting New York products, sticking together, and helping us keep growing this industry. And I don't know of one single legislative region in New York State that does not have agriculture, some kind of distillery, some kind of brewery, something like that. Now, when we go to the flip side to let stores sell, wine shops sell, let's let them sell 10% of their overall sales in food, but only New York cheese, New York charcuterie, New York made artisanal products from New York ingredients can be sold. So if there's a company making potato chips from Long Island potatoes, let that stuff be sold. There's tons and tons of cheese makers out there. There's a lot of charcuterie. There's a lot of everything out there to be made, and this will now force. What this will do is the majority of restaurants in New York do not give New York wines a fair shot. They do. Sometimes they'll give New York bourbons and stuff like that a fair shot, or vodkas, but they really never give the wines a fair shot. We were just talking to restaurant staff the other day, a manager in one of the restaurants we were at, and she's like, "Oh, New York wines are just way too sweet, and I don't like them." And this person's like selling wine in a restaurant, like in a bartender, like bar manager position. And we're like, "Well, if you tried like this, she's like, "No, I don't." These are people that with authority in the restaurant industry are downplaying New York wines. This would force restaurants, if they wanted to be in the game of retail, to support New York. And it's not only about you and I supporting it when we walk into buy it, but it's about now a restaurant now bringing it in, sticking it in their SKUs, sticking it in their inventory items, and being able to have it on a regular basis and in the system of having this. Now, when it comes to cheese and all kinds of agriculture and charcuterie and winemaking and distilling and brewing, there's not one district in New York State, not one representative that should vote no for this. Every elected representative across our state has agriculture of some sort in their region. Even in New York City, there's agriculture, right? There's people doing things in Brooklyn. There's a winery in Brooklyn. There's distilleries in Brooklyn. There's distilleries in New York. There's breweries. There's all these kinds of, it's happening everywhere in New York State. And I think this is the perfect time for us to for them to introduce, our legislators to introduce legislation. Jake, can you answer this? I have some phone calls for Airbnb and other things that I don't want to miss. But that's my big idea. That is my huge idea here, and I think it would be extremely beneficial for New York wine, New York all spirits, everybody, for restaurants, for stores. Make it beneficial for both stores and for restaurants, and make it beneficial for all of our hardworking producers in New York State. I think that's one way that we can really make this a win-win situation, and everybody will be happy. And I don't think anybody would complain. The Retailers Association, I don't think the cheesemakers, I don't think anybody would complain on this. Even our legislators that we vote in shouldn't complain on this. It's a win-win. So that's my big idea, folks. So Contacted some people yesterday, like I said, some distillery owners that are influential, and I'm going to get this ball rolling forward. We have to obviously get a lot of people to be aware of this, and get it written the right way, have somebody sponsor it, and go forward with that. So that's my big idea, and hopefully this will work out, and hopefully we can push forward and make things happen. So that's it, folks. It is Tuesday. We're closed here today. And closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays, back open on Thursday. If you thought this was a good idea, drop a comment, share it with somebody else, share it with an elected official if you can, share it with anybody, share it with another winery owner, with a brewery owner, with a distillery owner, with a cheesemaker, share it with anybody you possibly can, because this is going to be something that would benefit all of us New Yorkers, especially the producers. All right, folks, thanks for listening. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.